This is Saturday Morning Mysteries.
And we're your hosts, Alexis and Grace. Good morning. Happy Saturday morning, everyone, and welcome to Saturday Morning Mysteries, where we are your hosts. I'm Alexis.
I'm Grace.
And we're back. We are back to talk about a new show as the horror. No, not the horror. The excitement, the sheer excitement. If you've been sticking with us for the past, I guess, oh my gosh, 16 weeks now.
Oh, holy shit.
Wow. Yeah. If you've been sticking with us, or not maybe even for the whole 16 weeks, but for any number of weeks for the past however long, you've heard us go through different arcs of different classic animated shows and talking about fun investigations and mysteries from those shows in true crime fashion. We started with Scooby-Doo, then we moved on to Darkwing Duck, and today we're starting a new episode arc with a new classic animated tale, and we are very excited. Grace is going to go first today. And of course, I'm doing all of this build up as to what show we're doing, as if folks have not just read the title of this video or this podcast.
Maybe it's on autoplay.
True.
Maybe they did.
Maybe they didn't look. I can't read everyone's minds or, whatever. But Grace, do you want to, since you're going first today, do you want to tell the lovely listeners and viewers what show we're going to focus on for the next several weeks?
Yes, I do. But before we talk about our new show, I'm going to set the scene as per usual.
Please
that
do.
I do when we enter new shows. So people who are just on autoplay are going to have to wait, in fact, a little bit longer before.
But we promise you'll love it. It's going to be worth the wait.
Yeah, exactly.
I know Grace, she's going to tell a great story that will set the scene here and get us very excited for this show. So stick with us, y'all.
Yes. And the scene this time starts with murder. Specifically in 1987, 2 years before our new show aired. Coincidence or not, we'll find out. It's not unrelated, but related. Trust me.
Totally a coincidence.
Yes. So in 1987, two hired henchmen flew from Los Angeles to New York City, which they found an office and shot the business partner of the man who hired them for murder, and they fled the scene. The murdered man was shot because his partner, kind of like a subsidiary partner, but a partner nonetheless, was jealous of this now dead man's part of the business and how extra successful that end of the business was.
Okay.
The man who hired the assassins went on to take over that more successful part of the business, and actually continued to build it up and be more successful than it already was. But with that also came a buildup of this man's paranoia, and his jealousy didn't stop and actually led to more murder for hire, including towards the end of this investigation, finding enough cyanide to kill 230 people. So yeah, this business partner was batshit crazy, super jealous, paranoid.
Wow.
And yes, killed his original business partner. And what, you may ask, does this have to do with our new show, which I still haven't mentioned? This is related to the new show because the murder for hire plot had to do with a business that is very related to our new show, by name at least. Because the business where one partner was murdered by the other was the infamous, the one and only. You can find them on the Vegas Strip, baby. Chip and Dale's. And the stars of our new show are Chip and Dale. Rescue Rangers.
Oh, man. How funny would it have been if the business in question was actually called the Rescue Rangers and not the Chip and Dale?
Yeah, this is actually like a wild, like completely separate, like detective agency that then Disney stole from.
Right.
No, but I will say
that's amazing, by the way. Not amazing in the good. That's I never knew that. Yeah, that's wild. Best way to describe that. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, I'll say there are some really great podcasts out there that fully dive into, like, they're just called like the Chippendales murders. Because it's batshit bananas that this all male variety strip show has a very dark, murderous past. And I will say that the Rescue Rangers, or Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is our new show. And Chippendales, the strip show, not our new show, but they are spelt differently. So Chippendales, the strip show, is named for a style of furniture versus Chip and Dale. But according to Wikipedia, Chip and Dale, our chipmunks, were also named for this style of furniture as a pun. So it does connect.
So it's connected. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm not making this up. It's connected. So anyways,
they knew what they were.
Our new show is Rescue Rangers.
Yeah. All of this is to say that our new show is Rescue Rangers. Yeah. No, great. That's a great intro. Maybe.
Thank you.
It was what year did you say that all happened?
Well, so the murder happened, that first murder, in 1987, and Rescue Rangers premiered in 1989.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe that was the inspiration for the show. They're like, what if we had a detective agency who looked into all these solve these crimes and whatnot, but let's just call them the Chippendale. Like, totally just punning off of this whole horrible situation.
I've only watched like a couple episodes so far for now us covering this show. There could be an episode in which they solve a strip club, a strip show murder. I don't know.
Maybe. I've tried to scroll through at least the descriptions of a lot of them. I've not seen it yet, but I mean, I haven't looked that closely. It's very, very possible.
You know what? Both Chip and Dale don't wear pants as Rescue Rangers.
That's already half of the job. The Chippendales. They're on their way. And honestly, Monterey Jack too. Hey, everybody's got their taste.
Yeah, exactly. The mustachio,
plumpier, maybe older mustachio. Hey, whatever. Everybody's got their taste.
Hey, if you're a Chippendales dancer listening to this episode, do we have some characters for you for your next show?
Yeah. Oh goodness.
Yes. So I was just saying, I'll just get into describing the show now a little bit more, unless you had other thoughts.
I don't think so. Yeah,
on those murders.
Introduce. No, I don't think so. I'm still a little shook by that info, though, and also just the fact that we're about to tie it to a Disney show. Which, by the way, I'll say the show came out on Disney in 1989, and actually, it's pretty connected, slightly connected to our Darkwing Duck, our last arc that we did, where they were both like the part of the Disney afternoon adventure programming, along with DuckTales, and there were some other shows in there. But so another Disney show where we might see things get a little dark and a little graphic at times with these adorable little woodland creatures, these rodents that are solving crimes for an investigative agency, detective agency that they have created. But I guess Grace, I'll let you jump right in. Tell us about this show.
Yes. So as you mentioned, it does. It's connected somewhat. It's rumored whether or not it actually takes place in the same universe as Darkwing Duck and DuckTales and Tailspin. There are, again, according to the internet, a couple times where there will be some little overlaps. But uniquely, actually, Chip and Dale, who are brothers, actually first entered the Disney universe 40 years prior to having their own show. So in 1943, Chip and Dale, I feel like I have to say it so distinctly now that I've talked about Chip and Dale's dancers. But they appeared in a short. So, back in the day, they'd have little shorts with Pluto. And they continued to get into other shenanigans in Disney shorts as co-stars with Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Pluto, and generally as kind of the troublemaking, antagonizing, the main characters with hooligan, they're kind of the little hooligans and full of antics. And eventually in the 80s, perhaps inspired by the Chippendales murders, Disney decided to give them their own show.
To be determined.
Yes, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. And again, that was in 1989. And speaking of the 80s, the theme song, I would say, is another iconic song that deserves its moment to shine.
Yeah.
I can't like speak as well to genres of music as you can, Alexis, so feel free to give some more technical descriptions, but I basically, this song, it's got, some heavy synth in it. The way I decided to describe it was that it's got like some tonal shifting in it. Those are words I saw describe it. But I would describe it. It's like, it starts off as like a slow late 80s ballad that would be in the rain. And then it breaks into the perfect like 80s pop pickup with like its rhythm and tone that would go from like the main character of this 80s film in the rain to them in a training montage for like whatever the big climax is, and like you seeing the success of their training and then running the race or like the big game day type of thing, and they win it at the end.
Build up.
Yeah, exactly.
Chippendales.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it would, the 80s film would definitely like freeze frame high five, or like a la Breakfast Club, like freeze frame, like fist in the air at the end. Just go listen to it. It's great.
It's really good. It's up there. It's around the same level as like Darkwing Duck level of just the creativity behind that intro song. Like they really put a lot of thought into it. And as I've been like researching and reading about the show for us covering it, I came across I'm so sad I don't remember his name, and I'm not going to look it up right now. Maybe we'll throw it in like the show notes or something. But they hired like an award-winning, like chart-topping composer and songwriter to do this song. And like I think you described it like perfectly. Like this 80s like starts like the ballad, kind of like gets your attention with like almost this very like smooth but like somewhat heavy percussion, like get your attention, and then just like alternates into this very like synthy 80s pop type of like it's a bop for real. Rescue Rangers. So it's really good. Definitely everyone go listen to it.
Check it out.
It really sets the tone. And also the lyrics I think are very if you actually, because I watch stuff with subtitles all the time, so I'm actually like reading what the lyrics are whenever the show is starting up, and it actually describes like perfectly what the show is about. So not only is it just like great music, but the lyrics are perfectly tied into like, hey, this is what you're about to get involved in.
All right, well, don't go watch the theme song until the end of this episode, because I'm about to describe what the show's about.
Exactly. But just so you know, like when you're watching it, clever writing and all of that. Or I mean, if you do stop to watch it now, it doesn't matter, because Grace is still going to do a much better job. It's like, she's going to do her thing anyway. So come back and listen.
Don't leave us, please.
But don't leave. Listen later. But
come back. Anyways, so this animated Disney show gives this duo a little more substance and backstory and character arcs than like their 40s, little shorts did. This show follows the investigations and again antics of the detective agency that Chip and Dale started, which is called Rescue Rangers. So they, along with their 3 other employees, who I'll get to in a second, operate within the human world. And they investigate the cases that are too small for humans to deal with. But for the Rescue Rangers, there's no case too small. And usually their clientele are other animals, but they do overlap with humans a lot. And humans like can't understand the animals. So it's not like they're talking to the humans. They just kind of like cross paths in the human world. So I'll briefly describe, again, as per usual, the different characters that make up the detective agency Rescue Rangers. So Chip is, again, one of the 2 brothers and partners at this agency. In appearance, he's basically Indiana Jones. He's got like the fedora, but not in a douchey way. The brown, like leather bomber jacket, and his weapon of choice is often like a lasso. However, unlike the Harrison Ford Indiana Jones bad boy, Chip is like super straight-laced and serious, a little judgy sometimes. Clearly carries all the responsibility of the agency on his back. Like he definitely keeps the books. he definitely keeps them on track and on the straight and narrow. Dale, who is the other brother, I would describe as like the well-meaning frat boy who thinks Hawaiian Friday is every day, because he indeed wears a red and yellow Hawaiian shirt. His motto is definitely YOLO. He pulls pranks, is like kind of irresponsible, but in a way that's adorable. So yeah, not like a annoying frat boy, but like, ah, he's at it again.
Yeah.
He often gets schooled by his brother Chip, but to Dale's credit, when push comes to shove, like he does step up. And like I mentioned, the agency has 3 other employees. So first is a mouse who's somewhat reminiscent of Launchpad from Darkwing Duck, in the sense that like he also just wears a pilot's cap and has like the pilot's like goggles on the top of his head, and has like the large upper body. He is Australian and he sports a big red mustache and is obsessed with cheese, which is important to know because his name is Monterey Jack. Like the cheese.
Yes.
He goes by Monty a lot of the times. He's the muscle of the group, and he kind of brought all the other employees on board, as one of the other employees is kind of his sidekick, and the other one is more or less his like adopted daughter in a sense. So said sidekick, who again is another employee, is Zipper, who's like this tiny little like teal fly who just kind of like buzzes around. I think in later iterations he might have some lines, but he kind of just kind of makes buzzing noises. But he also like saves the day a lot of the time and can like lift a lot of really heavy objects. So yeah, he's pretty useful.
Yeah.
So then our only female lead is Gadget Hackwrench. Very literal name.
Tell you. Yeah, right.
Wonder what her job is on the team. So Monty knew her as a child, like he knew her dad, and kind of like, adopted her as his own. I don't know what happened to her family. I'm sure the show gets into it and I'm just not aware of it yet. But she, I decided, is a combo of like manic pixie dream girl meets inventor super genius, in the sense that like she's rocking the lavender jumpsuit that's real cute and I would totally wear, has like the smoldering goggles on top of the head. She invents all of the gadgets and like weapons for the gang. She's constantly like creating and tinkering and testing things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Overall, like she doesn't give a hoot what other people think. She's also a mouse, by the way. And in her like uncaring about what other people think about her most of the time, sometimes she misses cues because Chip and Dale are both definitely like in love with her, and are vying for her attention, and she's just like, whatever,
back
boys.
To my inventions.
Yes, exactly. Which you go, girl. A very important note also is that, or I guess 2 last notes before I get into my episode, is that we picked Rescue Rangers a number of weeks ago as our next show. And then maybe like 2 weeks later, we learn, or Alexis sees on Instagram, that there is a Rescue Rangers movie coming out. Yes. So it's like, I'll pass it to Alexis here briefly, for her very badass, very cool as hell cousin described what the movie will be perfectly. Hi, Evan. Because he does a great job of like, what are they making this into a movie of? So I'll pass it to you.
So it's funny. And again, to reiterate, we learned after picking this show, after like literally maybe 2 weeks after, we were like, all right, boom, we're going to do Rescue Rangers. I just so happened to be scrolling and an ad for the movie pops up on my timeline on Instagram. I'm like, oh my gosh, which, I'll look at it as a good thing, because I think it means that we're like on the same page as some of these like very high paid Hollywood execs and everything. So, maybe we're little toss, which that movie looks pretty amazing, by the way, from the one ad that I've seen. I'm sure we'll talk about.
Incredible.
Like
Andy
actually
Samberg, John
maybe we should just do a bonus content talking about the movie.
We will.
Maybe we'll do that instead. We'll do that separately. But like, just know a live action hybrid movie coming out about this show is coming out. I don't know. I'm trying to think of too many things at once right now. Damn it. Let me read this text for we're so excited. So it just so happens, one of our probably our second biggest fan. Sorry, Evan. After our dear friend Lenny is my super cool, awesome cousin Evan. And he actually just texted me right before we started recording today saying this. Did you see that Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers is getting Chip and Dale's, look at me saying that Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers is getting a quote unquote pseudo live action Cool World's Roger Rabbit style meta aware relaunch reboot.
Which is way better than I could have described it.
I got his permission to read that on this recording because that's literally the best way to describe this. If anyone watching or listening has ever seen Who Framed Roger Rabbit, or maybe even like Space Jam, I would say it looks like it's in the realm of one of those where it's animation blended with live action. It looks like all of the Rescue Ranger characters and some of their like biggest foes and like other random Disney aligned characters are going to pop up in animation, but they're dealing with like real world criminals and everything. I honestly can't say what all the movie is about because I think that trailer that I saw was the very first one to drop. So it essentially looks like, though, that the Rescue Rangers have like fractured and they're coming together for a new mystery. I don't know, but the voice cast is amazing. It's Andy Samberg and John Mulaney.
Mulaney, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, which is very good. Awesome. I don't know who's voicing who, but those two, they're each Chip and Dale. One way or another.
I think John is Chip, Andy is Dale. So until that film comes out, which I expect some bonus content around that, we'll be following our 80s Rescue Rangers through their investigations, which come in all shapes and sizes. So the episode I'll be covering today is called Chocolate Chips, which I think is season 2, episode 25. According to Wikipedia, because again, Disney Plus organizes things differently. On there, it's season 1, episode 38. So instead of starting out today at Rescue Rangers HQ, which is rumored to maybe be in New York City, we're going to join our detectives on a little vacation outside of New York City and actually outside of the country. So Alexis, do you know some of the places that consume the most chocolate in the world?
Oh, any guesses? I have some guesses. Do you want me to like actually fire off some guesses?
Tell me just a couple of places.
Can I say countries really like by country or by like city? Okay, cool. Just firing off. I would say maybe like Brazil, maybe France, maybe Switzerland. I'm gonna stop guessing before I sound super dumb and like none of these are on the list of whatever.
You know what? There's been you've named a couple that we'll get to, but the one I'm gonna talk about now.
Oh, the United States, maybe.
I just said we left the country.
Oh wait, that's right. Sorry. I got excited.
Listen, Alexis.
We love sugar and unhealthy things here. Anyway.
Yeah, true. So according to my new favorite website, because I've referenced it before in our show, Statista, or however you say it, the top 3 countries with the highest per capita chocolate consumption are Switzerland. You got that right.
Okay.
Austria and Germany. Okay. Although some sources put Germany as number 2. And while according to the EU's Center for the Promotion of Imports, the Netherlands are the largest importer of cocoa beans in Europe, Germany is the second largest importer with a market share of 19%. And again, according to Statista, I don't know why I can't say that word. Anyways, I'm going to keep saying it wrong.
Say it the way you want.
Germany is the largest producer in the EU of chocolate, and in fact is the world's largest exporter of chocolate products. Its total value in Germany varies a little bit depending on the source, but ranges anywhere from $7 billion to $12 billion and is growing.
Wow.
So what I'm trying to say is that Germany really loves chocolate, and that in Germany, big chocolate is big money. So some Germans, not to stereotype here, but some Germans love chocolate in the industry so much that they're willing to ostensibly die for it, because greed and gluttony will do that for you. So as I mentioned, we're on vacation in this episode. Any guesses to where we are?
Switzerland?
Guess
No.
again.
Germany.
Nope, we're in Brazil.
Oh man, damn it. Yeah.
Had to set
It's
you up for
funny.
failure.
It's funny because I originally was going to guess Brazil to be an asshole and say, like, which were the two that I got wrong? Like, oh, Brazil, like seriously thinking they were going to be in Germany. Damn
well,
it.
you
Follow
saying
your
Brazil
gut, Alexis.
actually
Follow
like
your gut.
threw me off of my big build up there to
Did
be
it?
like, let's talk about Germany and chocolate, which is
Surprise.
relevant
Oh.
for the rest of the episode.
Huh.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll get to why in a little bit.
Interesting.
But
Okay.
yeah, funny enough
So
that you
they're in
happen to
Brazil.
say Brazil already.
Yeah. I mean, I know that, like, you know, some chocolate stuff is made there, aka the root of chocolate. Anyway.
Yes. So for our vacation today with Rescue Rangers, we're in the depths of the Amazon rainforest, which like dream vacation. Now the Amazon rainforest is mostly in Brazil, like 60% of it is in Brazil, but portions of it are in other countries. And while the show just kind of arbitrarily says like we're in South America and in the Amazon, I'm going to go ahead and say they're in Brazil as an executive decision here.
Cool. Cool.
So our intrepid, wow, why can't I say that word either? What the fuck is wrong with me today?
Intrepid.
Intrepid.
It's early.
It's early. I haven't had breakfast yet, just this coffee. All right. Yeah. Our rodent heroes are hitching a ride on a Jeep tour deep within the Amazon rainforest. As our local tour guide, which like has an like arbitrarily like maybe a Spanish, maybe a Portuguese accent, because that's the main language of Brazil.
Yeah,
it's a little, the accents that they give are a little of 1989 depiction, I would say.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Of course, back then, unfortunately.
Yes. So as our local tour guide points out the beautiful animals and the local flora and fauna, we see our rescue rangers doing what they all do best. Monty and Zipper are relaxing and chilling. Gadget is taking pictures and tinkering with her homemade camera that has like a super aggressive flash. Chip is straight up bitching about how vacation is a waste of time and that they're missing mysteries at home that they could be solving because he's a workaholic.
Yeah.
And Dale is straight up digging around through everyone's luggage looking for a snack, specifically a sugary snack. When Dale comes up dry, he does notice that Chip has some chocolate. Again, chocolate, see, all coming back. In his backpack. Yeah. It's called chocolate chips.
It's related. Yeah.
Yes. So Dale tries to steal some chocolate from Chip, which of course pisses Chip off and causes actually kind of an on-the-spot intervention about Dale's sugar addiction, because sometimes the way the show depicts, Dale and how much he loves sugar is straight up like crack addict status. And this, fully like intervention, they're all like sitting in a circle being like, you have a problem. He's in denial and he says, look, I can show you don't have a problem. I'll go cold turkey right here and now, baby. Okay. So right as he makes the classic addict's promise of, I don't have a problem, I don't need it in my life, the Jeep comes to a screeching halt as the tour guide starts to cry out in English. Whereas moments ago, they were in this lush rainforest with, like skyscraper-sized trees, oceans of green, and flowers sprouting out in every direction with every color of the rainbow. The tour group suddenly found themselves amidst a scene of pure devastation. The rainforest in front of them has been entirely flattened out, with every inch of life having been removed. Among the tire tracks that cross this, this devastated field of now just dirt and turned up soil, we clearly see the remains that there used to be trees here that were uprooted and literally ripped and torn from the ground. So as the tour guide continues to cry, rightfully so, about what happened to his beautiful jungle, then some nearby animals come on in to the rescue rangers and basically explain that this is not the first time this has happened within their region of this jungle in Brazil, or the rainforest in Brazil. And it's actually happening more and more, but no one can actually figure out what's happening. Every morning, basically, these animals are waking up, and more, there's different plots of land that have been, all of the trees are uprooted from. And of note, the only types of trees that are being uprooted and cut down, seemingly just overnight with no one noticing, are the cocoa trees. So let's pause for a second to remember the title of this episode, Chocolate Chips. How fun this sounded.
Yeah. Is there a pun in there too, maybe? Or double entendre? I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Like, we love
show
chocolate
Chippendale.
Chippendale. Fun, delicious. We're on vacation. Yay.
How cute.
Right?
Yay, I love chocolate.
No,
Fun.
somehow I yet again chose an episode that has to do with some deep shit. Or at least that's what I projected onto this episode.
This episode deals with dark chocolate.
Yes. Not a laughing matter. Try to stay with me as we go through this episode.
Gotcha.
So, clearly distraught by this unexpected devastation, the tour kind of comes to a screeching halt, and they make camp kind of nearby and like to regroup and figure out what's going on. I will say the Rescue Rangers have like a very adorable, like cute, like branded tent with like their little logo on it. But as they all turn in for the night, Dale, our sugar crack addict, sneaks off to get his sugar fix in secret. And like basically munch on his like secret emergency candy stash, like off in the trees. But lucky for him that his addiction took him away, because while he's out on his sugar bender, the camp is attacked, actually. So yeah,
lucky for him, and literally only him.
Yeah, the one time addiction saved the day. Saved his life.
Don't take notes, kids. It usually doesn't. Yeah,
usually not this case.
Good. Yeah.
Yes. So from his secret little hidey spot, now filled with candy wrappers, all Dale can hear is like this strange buzzing noise and the legit screams of everybody.
Oh my God.
The screaming of his friends is enough to like snap him out and sober him up. And so he runs back to camp. But it's too late, because everybody, humans and rodents, are gone without a trace. But he's now on the case, obviously, because he needs to figure out what the fuck just happened to his friends. And he hears that like strange kind of low buzzing noise again, and follows the noise, which takes him through the rainforest to another patch of cocoa trees. Also, I will say in the show, they always call them cacao trees.
Oh,
cocoa and cacao are the same thing. Yeah. Whatever.
Maybe one is like closer to the actual dialect. Yeah. I don't know, but we're American. We're American
here.
Cocoa trees.
Yeah. But to his surprise, but not to the surprise of our dear listeners, these cocoa trees are also being uprooted.
Yes.
But to the surprise of all of us, including our listeners and Dale, he sees the humans from the tour, his recent rainforest animal friends, and his fellow rescue rangers are the ones who are ripping up the trees, cutting them down, uprooting them, and completely, clear cutting and destroying this patch of trees.
Okay.
Dale is like shouting. No one is taking any notice of him. They're all kind of moving around with this like glazed look of their over their faces, this like 1,000-yard stare, almost moving like zombie-like as they go through just like the motions of like ripping up these trees and devastating this rainforest. Luckily, Dale is able to literally slap Chip out of it. He like punches him and then just like kicks him and like sends him like flying, and it shakes him from his stupor. But unfortunately not for long, because just as Chip like shakes out from it, the attackers reappear. So with this strange buzzing noise suddenly reappears, and it's this swarm of bright red mosquitoes.
Oh boy.
Which like would legitimately in the rainforest be fucking terrifying, because there's some scary shit in the rainforest.
They'd be massive. Yeah, I'm just gonna real quick interject. You said at the beginning, like, Amazon rainforest vacation is your dream. Like, oh geez, wow. I know you're hardcore, with the outdoor
like,
stuff, but holy shit.
I'm not
Maybe
roughing it there.
yeah,
Because I don't
okay,
want to
gotcha.
die
Like you're
from
not
a python.
exactly. You're not kidding. You're not camping out in the Amazon. I do like maybe a
Yeah.
trail, a short one, because
Yeah,
yeah, those
like
mosquitoes are probably as big as your face.
yeah, like no joke. Like I feel like everything can kill you in the Amazon
Yeah,
rainforest.
that's like the purpose of the rainforest.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Like,
don't go in there unless you want it to be over, basically.
yeah.
So Dale is able to hide, but they do attack Chip again. And as they do, he immediately reverts back into like this zombie state. So both Dale obviously puts it together, like these mosquitoes is what's somehow turning them into zombies, which like, I don't know, there's probably some type of mosquito again that like does have that effect. There's such things called like zombie bugs that like Google it. It's very terrifying. It's basically what bugs just do some weird, very scary shit, and no less in the Amazon rainforest.
Especially in the Amazon, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So Dale both on the run from mosquitoes who are out for blood, because literally that's what mosquitoes need, and trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with his friends. He hides in a tree trunk of like a downed tree, but unfortunately the zombie people push it over a cliff edge. Yes,
Strong
into
zombies.
Yeah, a roaring river below. And it turns out that this that they're pushing all of the trees into this river. And his zombie rescue ranger friends are on some as well, and they ride the river down until it meets up with a waterfall. And there it's promptly taken out by other like zombie looking creatures. Yes, Alexis, I see a question on your face. Is it because they wrote it down but to a waterfall?
I mean, yeah.
And that's not the way currents work?
Yes, there's a few like physics aspects that I'm questioning.
Okay, I will say the way they write it down is there's zombie alligators on the sides of the trunks, like swimming them down.
Well, that just raises more questions.
Exactly, that's why I didn't add it in.
Yeah. Okay. Keep it moving.
Keep it moving here, people. So when the trees brought by the zombie alligators or crocodiles, I don't know. I don't even know if those are in the rainforest, whatever. They get promptly taken out of the water by more zombie like animals, and they get taken, like they kind of disappear behind a waterfall, and Dale obviously jumps ship before that because he's like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm not going back there. Yeah, with some zombie leopards, they will eat me.
Yeah. Even if they weren't zombies, they would eat me.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe even more so actually if they were not zombies. But over the rushing sound of the waterfall, Dale hears this like steady drum beat and looks up towards the top to see this actually like kind of short, like hefty figure in this like flowing, like blowing in the wind red cape, and this like enormous, like almost like head and shoulders, like golden mask. It's like, it looks like kind of like just like a full bust type of thing, like a statue bust. Like, yeah, covering everything, like pure gold, this like very like animated face on it, and this person with this big mask and cape on are steadily playing this like ancient drum that's like painted in like greens and purples, and is just like steadily playing this drum beat, which Dale, I will say smartly so, is like, that seems like the zombie king, they're all coming towards him, I'm out of here. And he leaves.
Slowly back away. Yeah.
Yeah. Dale's like
this zombie mosh pit is about to start, like around this drum beat. Just zombies everywhere.
Yeah, like low-key terrifying, and good call, Dale.
Yeah.
So eventually he makes it back and gets back by the morning. Apparently also his rescue ranger pals were able to make it back. But in the morning, they have no memory. They're not zombies anymore. They have no idea what happened the night before. And Dale is like, y'all were zombies, mind controlled by a zombie king. Like, what the fuck?
Like, don't tell me y'all don't remember that.
Yeah. No, and they're like, not only are they like, no, what are you talking about, Dale? but they smell candy on his breath. And they basically say he made up this story to cover up his bender the night before on sugar.
Oh shit, drama.
Yeah. So
Oh my
again,
God.
some
Rescue
gaslighting,
Rangers. They're
just
about to, coming for Dale's throat right now. Oh
yep.
God.
They're like, you said you'd go cold turkey and we can smell it on your breath that you did not.
Also, that's just a very funny like analogy
Again,
to like alcoholism or an
like
actual drug addiction. I smell the bourbon on your breath.
Like literally Chip is like gets in his face, is like, is that peppermint on your breath? And they all like come into screen and are like, glaring at him like, you said you go cold turkey. You said you'd stop. So Dale, though, luckily will not take their gaslighting. And he's like, y'all follow me. There's some weird, I will show you the zombie king. I don't want to go back there. I will show you to prove to you that yes, I was on a bender last night, but yes, also this happened. So he leads them back to the waterfall. And this time they actually go behind the waterfall. There's no zombie king to be seen this time. But and I will say they're keeping out, like Dale's keeping his eyes out for like the mosquitoes the whole time. Like he's definitely on edge.
Yeah.
And the rest of the rescue rangers are still like, you brought us all the way out here just to prove that you weren't like tripping balls on sugar last night. Like we know you were, and you're a liar. But luckily behind the waterfall, there's like this huge cavern. There's in like the rock wall in this cavern, this like enormous carved in stone face that when they push on it, it slowly opens up to reveal this like winding golden staircase. Which I'm sure at this point, I'm sure Dale was like, see, I wasn't hallucinating and tripping balls. I had told you, okay, let's go.
Or I was hallucinating and tripping balls, but this shit was not the hallucinating part. This was not the hallucination.
This is just a separate thing.
I found this crazy staircase.
This was
zombie
unexpected,
god, zombie
but
king.
Convenient. For my case here.
It further proves my case. I did not know this evidence would be here, but I told you.
But I'm a really good detective. So they follow the staircase up, and at the top it opens up into, at the top of the staircase, it actually takes them back outside into, which I guess they were never inside because being in a cave is still being outside, whatever. It opens up into this lush land that has this like enormous, it's like El Dorado, like golden, like huge golden temple in the center of it.
These golden cities, we're coming back to golden cities.
Always bad news.
Yeah, literally. I think
there's always in a row. Someone doing some sketchy shit in there.
Never safe.
Like, yeah, there's always someone if there's a golden city in modern age, there's always someone fucking something up and like desecrating what was holy ground.
Yes,
as we should know. So again, this golden temple, at the top of it has like another one of those like carved faces that all kind of look alike, and has like all the carved faces have had like open mouths, like their tongues sticking out. But this one, instead of a tongue, there's another waterfall pouring out of it, which is like kind of majestic, actually. There's smoke like rising from the top of the temple. So clearly someone or something's in there. But of a special note is that surrounding the temple in these lush fields are replanted cocoa trees, just like acres and acres and acres of them. So this is where our detectives merge with our criminal and our actual crime. For within the Golden Temple, the king of the zombies is who they find there. And thinking he's alone, he takes off his mask to reveal this heavyset man with a black mustache and like this wispy black hair. And as German polka music starts playing, Lederhosen is what he's wearing.
Underneath this, like
underneath the garb, he's got some lederhosen on. Cool. I can't help but immediately, even though his like mustache is like kind of curled up because of like the wispy hair, he's kind of like a heavier set Lederhosen Hitler. Like that's the immediate vibe type of thing. You just can't avoid it. And while he tastes, and he's basically surrounded in this temple with like these bubbling cauldrons of chocolate, and the rescue rangers are watching this happen, again, thinking he's alone. He starts to monologue about what's going on.
Classic supervillain.
Classic. And so they watch from behind one of these like cauldrons. Again, they're like, here's some cocoa trees, bubbling cauldrons of chocolate. Something's up here. So our criminal today, he somehow explains himself out loud. He says to himself, his name is Heinrich von Sugarbottom.
It's like actually a kind of cute name, Von Sugarbottom. Like I feel like I would want to name a cat Sugarbottom or something. Like, right? Isn't that so adorable? Like a white cat, Sugarbottom.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Anyway, Heinrich. Heinrich.
So I actually believe, though, because we're going to get into some brief wild speculation here. Because I want to get into both the criminal briefly right now and the crime going on. But I wildly speculate that Heinrich von Sugarbottom is actually an alias. Let me tell you why.
Okay, gotcha.
So I believe that Heinrich grew up in Dusseldorf, Germany, or Dusselheim.
Wait, is this wild speculation I'm hearing?
Yes.
Or is this okay? Oh, I love it.
Cool. This is wild speculation time. I'll tell you when we're out of wild speculation and in wild speculation.
I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
The Rescue Rangers wiki page didn't have like
no, this is
awesome, beautiful. Take that creative credit, girl.
Yes, this is my own wiki page here. So Wiki Grace.
Gracepedia.
So Heinrich grew up, I believe, as an only child and was waited on hand and foot by his parents, especially his mother. Anything he wanted, he got. And if he didn't get it, this bitch would throw a fit until every desire was met. And there was no charade around this either. Like his pockets would be overflowing with goodies on the regular. His mom would like brag about him left and right and just like doting on his every move.
Yeah.
And obviously lots of kids are spoiled and end up just fine and not some weird criminal in the middle of the Amazon. However, I deeply speculate here that at the age of 9, Heinrich, if that even is his real name, was in a horrible accident, an accident that would cause him both to change his identity and set him on a path of chocolatey revenge. Because I, dear listeners and viewers, speculate that Heinrich von Sugarbottom is in fact the grown-up Augustus Gloop from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And that the chocolate river accident he got in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, in which he was trying to eat chocolate and fell in and got swept away into the pipes, made him resent the chocolate industry and wanted to be on top of it. He said, this twisted accident that obviously caused him some severe brain damage made him decide that he would be in charge of the chocolate world, not Willy Wonka, that bastard.
Son of a bitch. So, well, it's because actually Willy Wonka probably got fucking arrested for like child endangerment and attempted murder and kidnapping. And after Willie got arrested, Augustus probably stole his map to the rainforest where he freaking kidnapped all of the Oompa Loompas and put them into slavery. I actually really like the Willy Wonka, like all that. I love that whole fictional universe and like those books and the movies. I also just love shitting on it because there are some very cringy portrayals in there. Wow, yeah. God,
which
what a
also
I was not expecting. Sorry, I'm still geeking about.
As a side note, I was really hoping in the last 24 hours, like because we both share the like YouTube account for Saturday Morning Mysteries, like we can, if you watch something on it, like it's in our watch history, and I went and rewatched this scene for Augustus Gloop, and I was like, I hope Alexis doesn't see this. I was like,
I feel like I saw something weird in our search history, but I was like, the research we have to do for this show, for this podcast is sometimes weird. So I was like, I don't know what the fuck Grace is watching, but as long as it's not illegal, I don't care.
Yep. And I will say I got that background from Augustus Gloop's actual Wikipedia page.
Okay,
what happened to him.
As soon as you said you thought he was actually Augustus Gloop, I was like, oh my God, yeah, and that's literally his background.
Exactly.
It's beautiful. Well done. I love it.
Like Augustus Gloop, Heinrich is an overweight German, hell-bent on chocolate and sweets and getting his way no matter what. I believe he changed his name to Heinrich von Sugarbottom in order to get his foot in the door in the chocolate industry and become a mogul.
Turn down a name Sugarbottom.
Exactly. To show Willy Wonka who the real chocolatier was, and he would do it no matter what. God damn it. So why is Heinrich, aka Augustus, making chocolate in the Amazon rainforest, and what the heck is his crime?
Yeah.
So for two reasons. One, and this is outside of wild speculation, he actually does say this part, that he's here because he basically discovered the ancient oldest way of making chocolate, which I guess was in the Amazon rainforest by whoever had this temple. And this would like make him, quote unquote, the candy man to the entire world.
Oh, God.
And in his monologue, again, outside of wild speculation, he fully says that basically the chocolate industry, they're all getting fat off of his ideas, and that he wants to be the greatest one in the land. So again, going back to my wild speculation of other people taking his ideas, abusing him like Willy Wonka did.
Yeah.
He's going to take them all down so he can rule the chocolatey German world and world as a whole. So the other reason he's in the Amazon rainforest, and what again is his crime going on here, we're going back into wild speculation time, but also into real world situation. So please stick with me, because
I'm here.
Is making chocolate a crime? No, I would hope not. I would be very sad if it was. My life would be over, because I also, like Dale, am addicted to sugar. But it's connected, I believe, to what the Human Rights Watch calls the rainforest mafias. So this, in classic Grace fashion, is an incredibly complicated topic. Our analytics,
you know how to pick them, don't you?
Again, chocolate chips, how fun! Like I said earlier, no.
Halfway through the episode, you're like, "What have I done? I did it again."
In too deep. So our analytics on our podcast said somehow, I'm very honored by this, we had like 3 listeners in Brazil. So I apologize personally to them right now for what information I get incorrect about your beautiful, lovely country.
And feel free to correct us in the comments, and don't leave us because we got it wrong. We're ignorant Americans who we need to know the right way. So tell us, share if we do get it wrong, but I have faith in Grace and the research she's done.
Podcast listeners, you can't see the look on her face of pure doubt on her face, actually. So again, apologies for what I may or may not get wrong here, but I've tried my best. So environmental laws in Brazil make unregulated deforestation of the Amazon rainforest and in general illegal. However, the enforcement of such laws by the Brazilian government is weak at best, and at its worst has led straight up to murder. So according to the Pastoral Land Commission, which is a nonprofit, over 300 people have been killed in connection to Amazonian land resources in the last decade alone.
Wow.
At least 28 of these killings since 2015. 4 attempted murders and 40 death threats have all direct evidence linking them to illegal deforestation. Who, again, in this direct evidence, they've been able to put together that those perpetrators of those various crimes, again, murder, death threats, attempted murder, saw the victims as obstacles to their illegal operations and wanted to get these people out of their way. While some of these victims were Brazilian government enforcement officials of these laws, most of them were either from communities nearby or in the Amazon, and a very good amount of these victims were from indigenous communities and indigenous individuals who oftentimes, from what I can tell, in this whole scenario, the crimes against them probably get underreported. And so whether trying to enforce the law, trying to stand in opposition to illegal deforestation, or even having some loose knowledge of these activities can get you killed by the aforementioned rainforest mafia. And rarely is this violence is rarely even prosecuted in Brazil. In the last few years, the amount of illegal deforestation has actually become much more brazen, much like Heinrich/Augustus Gloop's operations now show us. This, according to both the Human Rights Watch and Luis Roberto Barrasso and Patricia Perón Campos Melo's article in the Harvard International Law Journal, is directly connected to Brazil's president, which I also don't know how to say his name. Should have looked it up.
Jair Bolsonaro.
Yep, exactly. I was going to say Bolsonaro is how I think it's said. It's connected to his active curtailing of enforcing environmental laws by doing things like cutting the environmental law budget, downsizing the entire department so barely anyone works there, in addition to corruption and a lack of legal framework to actually even take action. So many of these actions under his administration has been read as a green light by illegal deforesters, basically, again, this rainforest mafia, to increase their illegal actions because they basically are guaranteed not to get caught now while he's president. To paint a picture of what it's like in the last few years, I'm going to directly quote from that Harvard International Law Journal I mentioned. It's kind of long, but it's like pretty staggering. So I'm just going to read it in full here.
The quote or the whole article?
Or both. Okay. So it's kind of chunky. The article is very incredible, and it goes into the legal framework within Brazil that kind of is allowing for all this to happen and why it's weak. Or weak in this regard under especially
the enforcement.
Yep. So, quote, deforestation began meaningfully in the 1960s with the onset of governmental initiatives, such as infrastructure construction and agricultural and settlement subsidies, so legal deforestation. From then onwards, it increased progressively until it reached its peak in 2004. After that, government initiatives kept deforestation in check until 2012. But with the loss of political will to protect the Amazon and Brazil's economic downturn in 2015, deforestation levels started to rise again with each passing year. By 2015, the accumulated deforestation of the last 40 years added up to a total of 20% of the Brazilian Amazon, an area equivalent to the territories of Spain and Italy together. The situation turned dire in 2019 when deforestation, so just 4 years later, increased by 34.4%, and indigenous lands and conservation units were affected to an unprecedented extent. Forest burning increased by 67.9% in 2019 compared to 2018. And these numbers continue to grow in 2020 when deforestation increased by 9.5% and fires by 6.7% compared to just 2019. End quote. So in Brazil, environmental crimes, which include deforestation, illegal logging, illegal burning, are one of the most lucrative forms of transnational criminal activities. So again, that rainforest mafia that gets built around these activities. Because, like I said, in Brazil, especially under Bolsonaro's reign or presidency, the risk of punishment is so low. And these activities run deep, thus, again, the rainforest mafia terminology, as they require the needs of bribes, money laundering, corruption of government officials, smuggling, and slavery, which is something you mentioned earlier.
Damn Oompa Loompas.
Yep. It's so bad, in fact, that according to CBS News, there have been at least 4 complaints brought to the International Criminal Court against President Bolsonaro for crimes against humanity in his alleged role for the destruction of the Amazon rainforest.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, both for the impact on indigenous communities and peoples, and also the impact that this has had on climate change and the direct impact that climate change has on human lives.
Yeah.
So we soon learn that Heinrich, aka Augustus, is not beyond these crimes either. Not only is he illegally cutting these cocoa trees, which again, illegal, but we learn that he literally is giving mosquitoes this ancient mind control potion that he found in this temple that they inject into unsuspecting victims like the rescue rangers, so that they can do his bidding, which is activated by this ancient drum. And he fully, quote unquote, Heinrich / Augustus says that labor is where he saves all his money in these operations.
Oh gosh. So he's
slavery.
He's an ultra capitalist too. Great.
Yep. So essentially with this juice, this mind controlled juice, yes, he makes them slaves. And yes, he is part of some variety of, again, rainforest mafia, illegally cutting in the rainforest these cocoa trees so that he can build up his chocolate empire, which he can do brazenly with the current political situation in Brazil, and thus, again, take down Willy Wonka. This is all a very long, very deep running.
Yeah, it's a long
crime
game.
syndicate. Yes.
He's playing the long game here. He's in it. Yeah, that little run in at the chocolate factory.
If he hadn't gotten that golden ticket.
Yeah.
But
it changed
also,
him. It changed
you
this
know
man.
what?
He's been plotting.
He's been plotting since he was 9 years old. But also, I guess if it wasn't him, it could have been someone else based on these stats of the rainforest right now.
It was bound to
going
happen
on
eventually.
Yes, it's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Very illegal. That is our crime here today. So obviously the rest of the rescue rangers now look at Dale and they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. Some shit's going down here.
Yeah, you can keep your sugar, keep your candy for a few more days.
Sorry about that, by the way. So they're like, well, step 1, let's end the slavery ring here. So again, rescue rangers secretly getting dark. They're like, we got to take this out. This is our first problem.
These abolitionists. I love it.
Yes, exactly. So the mosquitoes get one final drink from the mind control juice that Heinrich, aka Augustus, brought out for them.
It's actually just blood.
Probably blood from the people they've made their slaves.
Yeah.
But these spunky rescue rangers knock over the rest of the mind control juice, aka blood, probably. But unfortunately, a bunch of rodents pushing over like a bunch of ancient pottery filled with liquid is not subtle. So Heinrich / Augustus immediately is like, y'all are a problem. I'm gonna take you out. But unfortunately, he runs to his drum, starts beating on it, which snaps these rescue rangers, sans Dale, back into their zombie state because it was only a few hours ago in which they were bit. Whatever they were bit with is still pulsing through their veins. And they're literally mice and a fly and a chipmunk, so like a swarm of mosquitoes attacking them, like there's a lot of it pumping through their veins.
That shit's juicing through their system.
Exactly. So they all go into zombie mode again. Heinrich at first, again getting dark, is trying to get them into the chocolate, the boiling cauldrons of chocolate, to boil them alive. But he realizes Dale isn't a zombie, and so he's like, take care of him, mosquitoes and other zombies. But I guess the mosquitoes have like really bad aim. Maybe they're used to like stabbing humans, But like Dale is
Not chipmunks,
easily
rodents.
able, yeah, to evade capture and like getting stabbed. So as Heinrich starts to like full on like rip the mosquitoes a new one that they're bad at their jobs, he makes the rescue rangers go after them, which funnily enough, Heinrich / Augustus does say part of being a good or I don't know how to do German accent, like part of being a good businessman is delegating responsibility. That's not German accent. I don't know what that was.
It was like hybrid German Italian.
I can only get into German accent when I imitate Oma, who's Katie Albers' grandmother, who I love.
Hey Katie,
Grace.
what's up? Shout out.
Yeah, I should be like, Grace, get me another shot of the Jaeger is like the only way I can do is imitating our dear Oma, who's basically my adopted Oma. Anyways, luckily, Dale's once again able to slap Chip out of it. Right as, again, darkly, they're both about to like plunge to their deaths over like the edge of this temple, and like literally just like a step is able to stop them.
Oh God.
So again, they straight up almost die.
Yeah. The end of our heroes, potentially.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, the beginning and end immediately.
And this is our first and only episode. Bye.
And, yep.
Not sure how that movie is going to end up because,
it's definitely not be rated PG as we see them die again in that movie, maybe. And so, and again, tying it to the like the violence of the Rainforest Mafia, 2 more deaths on their hands, apparently. But luckily, that was just attempted murder to add to the list in the Rainforest Mafia.
A much lesser charge than actual murder.
Yeah, exactly. So they, again, like you said, these tiny abolitionists are like, okay, the juice wasn't enough. It's the drum that's the problem. That's like making us slaves here.
Yeah.
So through other shenanigans and antics, these 2 tiny ass chipmunks are able to like push a huge face statue, because it's just faces everywhere in this whole episode, into the center of the drum. Yeah, they rip through the drum, which the end of the drumming shakes everyone else out of the zombie trance that they're in. Heinrich starts like, aka Augustus, starts truly like in pure terrifying German yelling fashion, which again, sorry to stereotype y'all Germans here. But like an angry German yelling is kind of scary. The language is very aggressive sometimes.
I was gonna say, so he was just normally talking. Sorry, Germans. The language is fascinating, but it does always sound pretty angry.
Scary sometimes. So he like goes off at the mosquitoes, and you know what? These mosquitoes, like potentially the Oompa Loompas at some point, have had enough of this fucking shit.
Oh no.
So they band together and join the rescue rangers against Heinrich, aka Augustus.
Ooh,
yes.
A powerful alliance.
Very powerful. So between the mosquitoes chasing him and the rescue rangers, Heinrich like tumbles into his own drum, somewhat hilariously just turns into like almost like a snowball because he's like a little plump and he's now in like the circular drum and he starts rolling. Kind of funny. But I, again, going back to my wild speculation here.
Yeah.
This turns into the worst possible scenario for Heinrich / Augustus, because what happens in the actual episode in his snowballing, he runs into all of the boiling cauldrons of chocolate, which turn into a river of flowing chocolate into the waterfall out the temple into the river below. A pure chocolate river, like when Augustus was 9 years old in the chocolate factory.
He's so traumatized right now.
He is just re-triggered right now. You see him literally like in the drum, like flowing down like the gushing chocolate river, much like 9-year-old Augustus had to.
Yes. Oh my gosh, his fate. It is his fate all along. It revisited him. Oh my.
It brings it back to again what I believe happened to him when he was 9.
Yeah.
So I'll end with after rehashing that life trauma that he had to relive now. I'm sure that he was like, as he was going through like the chocolate like Amazon River, he was hearing the like Oompa Loompas, you know,
like laughing, you're hearing the music from them in the background, and Willy Wonka's just like
seeing their faces, like
just like having flashbacks, like not necessarily, actually maybe his whole life was flashing before his eyes, but specifically that day moment and all of
and just seeing like which also has another really quick side note of the Gene Wilder version of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which in my humble opinion is the best version in the world. They are making another one, by the way.
They are like Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, it's like a precursor type of thing, like prequel to it. But
young Willy Wonka.
Yeah, in the clip I watched, which just reminded me to go back and watch the whole thing, and I love Gene Wilder so much. But when Augustus falls in, his mom was like, "They'll do something." Willy Wonka goes, "Help, police." Is that what you want me to do? Like,
dude, like, oh my god,
right for murder.
Never mind. Maybe we should do a bonus episode just about the Gene Wilder version of the movie, because
he's killed before for sure.
Yeah, like I know I alluded earlier to like, he was getting totally fucking arrested after that, which also like the Johnny Depp version would have been as well. They were both fucking batshit crazy. Yeah. But Gene Wilder, just that, they didn't
cold-blooded.
He was cold-blooded. Yeah, they did not have to make him that insane of a character, but I'm so glad they did, because Gene Wilder killed it. Literally killed some of those kids.
Also,
and killed that role.
Also, as a triple side story here, remember the Futurama episode where they go to like the Slurm factory?
That's one of my favorite episodes, with Slurm's Mackenzie, the party worm. That's literally one of the grumpa lumpa crunkety whatever. And this episode of Futurama, people are probably like, what the fuck? If you're listening,
it's a
or
remake
watching
of Willy Wonka in an episode,
they did a parody episode of Willy Wonka where instead of a chocolate factory, it's Slurm, which is like Sprite or like some crazy soft drink. And they're called Grunka Lunkas instead of Oompa Loompas. It's probably one of the best. It's like the top 10 episodes of Futurama in my book anyway.
Anyways, after we'll just call him Augustus at this point, again, is like floating down, being like, they're everywhere, the Oompa Loompas, I'm sure in his head, etc.
Traumatized.
Like, Willy, no,
I failed again.
If for all I know, Willy Wonka was there, I'm sure, like once the cops came after
one of the campers,
the Amazon, and became the real zombie king out there. He is the rainforest mafia, Willy Wonka. Like,
I mean,
you come to me on the day of my chocolate wedding,
my chocolate factory opening.
You're deep in the rainforest. Pure imagination. Anyways.
Make a wish.
Like all of like Amazon creatures in the background. I would watch that. Anyways, I will say that the creatures of the Amazon rainforest go full fucking vigilante style, because they take the like mosquitoes that again turned against Heinrich, they all attack him, and the final scene we see is the creatures of the rainforest have fixed the drum, and they're drumming as Heinrich, aka Augustus, is now a zombie, and they're making him replant all of the cocoa trees that he stole.
Nice.
Back in their original home. So they replant the rainforest, which is very lovely, and he is now their slave. And
okay, you're like, we're gonna stop it there. And now he's their slave. Done.
And that's our first episode of Rescue Rangers.
Wow. Amazing. Good job. Rescue Rangers. Wow.
Yeah.
When there's danger.
This had some real fucking danger in it. They got mixed up in some mafia shit.
Some mafia shit in a foreign land. So, okay. My big question here, who were these other campers, or who were these other people at this campsite?
There's like a tour.
Just like a big group of folks taking like an Amazon rainforest excursion. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think like after the first night of camping and like when they were zombies, I think the tour guide was like, we're going to keep going. I'm devastated. My rainforest is being destroyed. Let's keep it moving. And the rescue rangers just stayed behind, which I guess with that in mind, I don't know how they got out of the rainforest. Like a human jeep had to take them deep into it.
Somewhere, yeah.
It would have taken them weeks to walk out as tiny little rodents.
Chipmunks,
and like
rodents.
Also, again, like everything
they would not have made them.
Yeah,
wild boars, gators or crocodiles. Which one is in the rainforest? I think gators.
Leopards. Literally, just like poisonous everythings.
Yeah, snakes.
They're still discovering like creatures and like plants in the rainforest to this day. The rainforest, Amazon rainforest is so big, there are still like fully uncontacted like indigenous peoples and tribes in the Amazon rainforest.
Yeah.
So
another reason why I would not want to take a vacation there. I mean, I'm sure that the tour guides like map it out well. Like,
I think they like
do not go past that red marking on that tree.
Yes. I think it's like actually that red marking on the tree is a natural marking that says this, hey, I'm a tree and I will fucking kill you because we're the rainforest.
I'm a tree and I will kill you. Yes. Oh, so, wow. Amazing. What an
Rangers,
episode.
Baby. We're in it.
Yeah, we're in it. They're starting off strong. What episode number that was season 2, at least for like the broadcast history.
Yes, so broadcast season 2, episode 25, Disney Plus season 1, episode 38. And so stay tuned everyone for more. This is our journey with Rescue Rangers. They're going to get into a lot more shenanigans. And between now and next week when Alexis will do her first Rescue Rangers, who should they spread the word to? Who should they tell?
This week.
Uh-oh. What mafia are you in? Tell them.
Yeah, right. Tell your local deforesting mafia. No, this week. Sorry, I'm laughing about what I'm about to say because in my mind it's very funny, but like in reality, in real world application, it won't really do us any favors with getting new listeners, but I still think it's funny. This week I want you to write to your congressperson and tell them to check out Saturday Morning Mysteries. And the reason I'm saying that is because the congressperson is like never the person who actually opens the mail. So truly it's going to be like their scheduler or like one of their assistants or their aides who's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll check it out. And then maybe they'll like share it with the rest of the congressperson's staff. So yeah, just like go to, I think it's like house.gov and you can like, put in your address or your area, your location, and it'll pull up whoever your congressperson is and just write them a quick letter. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You don't even have to ask for anything. Like if you want, if there are any political issues you care about, also throw those in there. But we're not a political podcast. We're just here to tell you, watch Saturday Morning Mysteries.
Please don't, because my job has to work with Congress people, and then they're gonna fucking watch it, and then when I email them for work, they're gonna be like, that fucking girl. Please don't tell them.
How about this one? Write to your state representative at the local level. If you don't want to write to your congressperson,
to your state legislators, state city council members.
In which case, just Google your state name, General Assembly / state legislature, pull up their website, find it there. Geez, find Grace.
I don't even have a follow-up for that, except my follow-up was, don't tell your congressperson about this, please, so I can maintain my professional life. Beckett. Tell your local county registrar when you go register to vote, which is important to do.
Yeah,
that's my mission.
There you go. And until then, we'll be back next week. Maybe Grace will have a job. Maybe she won't. We'll find out.
Stay tuned, people.
Depends on how many of you do what I just told you to do.
Maybe I'll be running to the Amazon and joining the mafia because I won't have a job. That'll be my only option. So,
until then, though, bye.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to Saturday Morning Mysteries.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share, rate, review, leave us a like, and drop a comment. We post episodes every Saturday and bonus tune tangents whenever we feel like it. So please subscribe so you don't miss the shenanigans.
And if you want to follow us on YouTube, click the bell under the YouTube subscribe button to receive notifications when new videos are posted.
And if you want to subscribe to the podcast, we have no idea what you're listening to us on, so just hit the big subscribe button on whatever app you're using. We believe in you.
Give us a follow on Twitter and Instagram at SatmornMist, all the abreves, and let us know if you have any episode or show requests by emailing SaturdayMorningMysteries@gmail.com.
Thanks to Jenna Kendall for the logo design and to Ava Sakiki for the music used during this week's episode.
See y'all groovy kids next week on Saturday Morning Mysteries.